Welcome back to the Black Metal Rebellion. How's it going, everyone? I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, aka Slammerella, and today we have another metal review to do, and it is of the band Skumstrike and their debut album, Deadly Intrusions, which came out April 8th, 2022, so 2 years ago. I'm a bit late to this review, but it's definitely worth sitting back and checking out what I have to say about it. Really great band out of Montreal, Canada, so fairly local-ish to me. And they started back in 2017. They are a black, kind of crusty punk thrash type of group. Before this, they released a few things. There was a demo in 2017 right there. They also had a EP in 2018 called Pure Coercion right here. Good stuff. Got that digitally from their Bandcamp, and I also got the next thing on here from Bandcamp as well digitally. It's their 2020 EP called Execution Void, and that shit rips. So if you liked this after checking out this review, definitely go check out the two previous EPs and order a nice digital copy off their Bandcamp, because I don't believe there's physical copies of it. They might have had cassettes previously sometime, but they definitely sold out because it's good shit. Anyways, let's get to the members for Deadly Intrusions, and that is Zach ZS on vocals and drums, and Lorcan LA on guitars and bass. They did have someone different for their live bass, but I believe he's no longer with the project. They actually have quite a few fairly notable bands to check out, so if you're curious, go check out Skumstrike on the Metal Encyclopedia, the Metal Archives, and go see what their live bassist has for projects. Very interesting. So how are the vocals for this project? Well, they are mid to high in the recording, volume-wise, just slightly under the guitar at points. It is an excellent, intense performance throughout the album. And as for the style of vocals, you can expect the gritty, harsh screaming and some kind of throat-tearing mid-tone growls. This guy definitely puts all or nothing into this project and is extremely passionate about what he's saying. All right, let's move on to the guitars. The guitars are mid to high in the mix, on par or again slightly above the vocals, and it was some great speedy, precise work throughout. It had this buzzsaw ripping tone, and it was fairly warm leaning. You could expect some speedy solos, some gnarly, menacing power chords, tremolos, and these neat hammer-on, pull-off fretwork compositions that happened here and there as well that was utilized for a more noodly riff effect, and you could also hear some eerie bends going on here and there as well. So lots to look out for in the guitar section. Very talented. All right, let's move on to the bass. The bass was mid to low in the mix, below the guitars, as expected for this type of project, but they did pop out and say hi every now and then, most notably in the track Another Shot of Fear. It was at the beginning, and then 3/4 to the end it popped up to say hi again once more. I really enjoyed that part. It was a very rumbly and equally as quick pace type of bass performance in this, and added that extra kind of snarl and overall meanness to the album. All right, zipping right along to the drums. They were mid-level in the mix, about on par with the vocals for the most part. It was another respectful, good effort performance-wise. This man fucking just destroys his hi-hat. Definitely notice that. And sinks his teeth into those nice up-tempo, like quick D-beats that you hear throughout the album. The snare is nice, however, a little bit slightly too low volume-wise in the mix. I'd really like to hear that cranked out, especially the madman that Zach is on the drums. And of course, there's some nice speedy fills galore. It just rips through those toms and cymbals like they owe him money. And of course, some nice solid kick drum work that really punches you in the dick. But all joking aside, they were great kicks. Let's move on to my favorite tracks. Starting up with the second track of the album is Blood Red Vision. and it just had this nice groovy post-intro riff that was followed up by some speedy riff work and a neat kind of Slayer-like composition halfway through. Then there's more quick noodly stuff, but yeah, it was interesting to hear a slight nod to Slayer in there. I personally am not a fan of Slayer anymore. I used to be more back in high school and when I was first getting into stuff in the Diabolus and Musica era, and then I kind of went a little bit further into their early discography with Rain and Blood, of course, where everyone usually ends up. But yeah, interesting to notice that there's a bit of that going on in Blood Red Vision. Next is track number 4, Panic Obsession. This had a pretty chunky opening riff. I enjoyed that. And then it was mostly business as usual for this project up until the 1 minute and 30-second mark, where it has this awesome groovy / punky Sabbath riff, which in my opinion is perfect. I love those kind of riffs, just smattered here and there in my fast thrash type of music. It's a nice little breakup of all the quick, crazy noodly stuff that happens, and it goes from there into a fairly soulful solo and then back to that crusty thrash to finish out the track. Panic Obsession is definitely something to check out. Moving on to track number 8 now, and that is Lobotomize. It had this menacing opener into this quick and mean punk riff, some more noodly stuff, and this pretty awesome middle section. That riff alone made this song really worth noting. Yeah, that's it for the main favorite tracks, but I do want to give a quick little shout out to some honorable mentions, that being track number 5, which is Another Shot of Fear, that had that bass popping up and saying hi in the beginning and the 3/4 near to the end. And then number 7, which is Mental Wound Submission. It had this speedy kind of crossover riff and had this menacing as heck middle portion. Lastly, number 9, The Infestor, had this, again, really cool middle part that popped up and really grabbed your attention. So yeah, a couple of honorable mentions there that are worth checking out for sure. But let's move on to my overall thoughts. So my overall thoughts are that Skumstrike pick up where Discharge, Nausea, and Skit System left off, but also add a mix of Kill 'Em All, Rain and Blood, and Fast as Fuck Boy versions of tracks that sound like they came out of Death Crush. Deadly Intrusions had enough fuzz and distortion and rawness to make any black metal aficionado blush. The punk riffs are there, turned up to 11 albeit, and they're mean as hell, accompanied by beastly 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and beats to make any 1977er up the punks and skank stomp around their garage. This project is similar in ways to Saccage and Phantom. You don't want to miss out on the energetic, fun chaos that is Deadly Intrusions. That being said though, let's move on to some weaknesses or improvements that could have been done. Alright, in the weaknesses and improvements section, I do have to say that the standout moments in these tracks made the other riffs feel more like filler or speedy nonsense, in which I mean kind of fast for the sake of being fast's sake. The riffs that pop out here and there amongst all the speedy, crazy, fast, menacing riffs are definitely overshadowing the speedy, fast, menacing riffs. So I would say if you're going to have riffs that really add a dichotomy to the rest of the song, maybe try to make the faster riffs a little bit more memorable somehow. Don't ask me how. Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of advice I could give there as a fellow musician, but that's just something I noticed. I also obviously enjoyed the bass moments that happened on Another Shot of Fear, so definitely more of that in the future. And lastly, maybe some more vocal variety, maybe some deeper lower growls here and there, or even deep cleans would be interesting. I know Inquisition isn't the most popular band right now because of reasons, but how they add some like lower cleans and some of their stuff was kind of neat and added to the vocal variety, which is of course the spice of life. Kind of got a little samey, but honestly that's just a nitpick at this point. And with all of that being said and done, I'm going to give Skumstrike's Deadly Intrusions debut album a solid ass 9 out of 10. This is a must-have. You should run directly after this video to Bandcamp or their YouTube channel and go check out this album. Great stuff. Actually, let's check out the inside because I didn't show that. Here's the back first. project is really, really good. I was sold right after the first 2 EPs, and then I noticed that they had a full-length album. I'm like, yep, getting a physical copy of that as soon as possible. And you can't tell me that logo isn't cool as shit. So, yeah, go check out Skumstrike's Deadly Intrusions. Pretty sick, blackened, crusty thrash Canadians from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So, yeah, up the horns, up the punks, and I'll see you in the next video. For glory, for the rebellion, Slammerella out.